Hi, this is Stacia, and I wanted to share a game that was played at the Parma Chess Club last night against Anthony Hoag. And I had the white pieces, and this is game one at the Parma Chess Club, which is basically quads. So 3 USCF rated games of G30. And I've played Anthony in the past, and we had a Scandinavian where I was able to win in like the late middle game, I want to say. But Anthony was like rated like 1400 back then, and now he's about the same rating as me, like in the mid 1600s. So I'll put that up on the screen, our exact ratings. And so without further ado, let's look at the game and see what we can learn from it. Okay, I played E4, best by test, and he went C5, the Sicilian defense. And lately, I'm really loving the move D4, which is the Smith Morra Gambit, recommended by Mark Esserman. And he took the pawn, and now I play C3. So I'm offering a full pawn for some development. And this opening can be very dangerous, like especially in faster time controls. And we had an interesting moment here because Anthony started giggling a little bit. He was kind of laughing and smiling, and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I play this as white." He's like, "Not as black." So he took his time in this position, and he did decide to decline the gambit. Now, honestly, I think that's a really good practical choice, especially in rapid time control. So he played the move D3. And I'm a little bit familiar with this. I have looked at this, but yeah, I don't know it as well as the accepted lines at all. So here, I actually was wondering if queen takes is the right move. And yeah, I was kind of curious because queen takes looks awkward, right? But the bishop can come to E2, and I'm going to go C4. And I was wondering if, like, in positions with G6 and bishop G7, I was wondering if I put my knight on C3, is it okay for black to take this and give me like really bad pawn structure? You know, I basically have pawns here and here. So I know that's a little convoluted, but yeah, I was wondering about that. But I played bishop D3, or I'm sorry, bishop takes D3. And that is in fact the main move. So okay, so we're still in book for the declined. He went knight C6. That's the book move. And now I went knight F3. So it turns out that C4 immediately is the main line. C4, I mean. Yeah, and I'm wondering if that's because black could prevent C4 somehow. But all right, I went knight F3. Now turn on the engine. So here, I mean, I don't think black has anything like this preventing C4, so I don't understand why this move is not the book move. So that's something I'll have to learn. But okay, he went G6, and I just want to get into the middle game here. So G6, he's going to Fianchetto, and now I played C4. And so now we have sort of that Moroczy Bind pawn structure. And I was really expecting him to do something like D6 pretty soon here. Of course, bishop G7, knight F6. So he does go bishop G7, and here I castle. That seems reasonable. And now he played the move E6. So, okay. I don't agree with this move. I mean, I doubt it's like that horrible, but yeah, the computer says it gives up equality. It says black's equal after knight F6 or D6. So just develop normally here. E6 to me is a little riskier because, I mean, it does indicate to me he's going to try to bust through with D5 at some point. But in the meantime, I don't like how all his pawns are situated on light squares. So now I was really thinking about, like, if I could trade this bishop off, maybe his king will be weak in the long term. But okay, it's just giving me some ideas. It's not the worst. And now bishop g5 was my choice. I actually thought he would go h6 here. Or I'm sorry, no, he has to block first. Yeah, now knight f6 runs into e5, I'm pretty sure. So that's part of why I like this move. Yeah, e5 wins on the spot. So he can't do that. He has to play f6 or maybe knight ge7. And he does play this. Yeah, and probably h6 is going to happen at some point. But I thought, again, like, this is moving a lot of pawns around his king side. So I was trying to maybe encourage that a little bit if I could. And now I go queen d2. So, okay. I was actually wondering about this in the game. Like, so I'm going for this typical idea to trade off this bishop. Like, if he castles now, I can play bishop h6 and win this bishop. Or trade it off, you know. But the computer likes knight c3. Just finish development first, Stacia, you big dummy. So, okay, queen d2 is fine. He castles, and now I go for bishop h6. Computer says white has a sizable advantage after knight c3. Yeah, just finish development. Just finish development. And probably, I realize now that this d5 break is actually in the position, isn't it? Let's see, he's got 1, 2, 3 guys supporting this. And I've got 1, 2, 3, including the knight. So I'm pretty sure that the idea behind knight c3 is that we get to maintain this annoying pin, and d5 is not possible. So bishop h6 instead. Yeah, I can see why this is inferior. It's going to allow d5. I think that's the point, because yeah, I'm going to get to trade off his bishop, but I'm kind of like spending a lot of time doing this, and I'm not finished with my development, and the knight wants to guard against this d5, and he's not. So yeah, so he went d5, and the computer does feel that's the best move, which is interesting. You know, like during the game, I kind of thought this was too aggressive. But it is the best move here because it's going to allow him to break free a bit. His bishop will no longer be imprisoned. So, okay, I took. This was my plan. I had to look at tempo moves. You know, he can push with the pawn. This would be annoying, except I do have bishop takes here. So that's good for me. So he can't play that move, but he could play this, I guess. But again, I think I can just go, I think I can just do this. And after e takes f3, I even have this. So this would be winning. So I did look at this stuff. And so for that reason, I think king takes g7 is forced. And then I took on d5. Now, I thought this was necessary because I didn't like the look of pushing. But there are some ideas to consider here. You know, maybe I could go computer saying knight a3 or queen c1. Pretty interesting. E takes d5 is also fine, but knight a3. This is interesting. So if knight a3, now pushing it isn't as good, I don't think, because of e5. And I'm going to target this pawn, I think. You know, the knight's going to come to c2. I'm going to move my bishop away. I'm going to bring a rook over. Similar to what happens in the game. Instead of that right away, I would c takes d5. This is fine. he takes back with the pawn. I think that's probably the best move. You want to open your bishop out. Yeah, and now I thought a while here because I wasn't sure I wanted to allow d4, and I also really want to finish development. So I was looking at takes. Takes just looks wrong though, doesn't it? Because if I take this, you can play like queen takes d5. This improves his development. He centralizes his queen. I guess I have knight c3, but yeah, he could probably just, I don't know. I thought this position was equal and not desirable for me, so I didn't go for that. So for that reason, taking the pawn is a bad idea. So if I can't take, what should I do? I could push e5. That's an option, but also if I go e5, there is bishop g4. So attacking the defender of the pawn. So this is bad. Yeah, bishop g4 is annoying. So after long last, I played knight c3. Now, in hindsight, I think I would play this a little bit differently. I think I would play h3 first. This is something the computer was suggesting. It's suggesting a lot of stuff here, but I'm fascinated by this move because the whole idea is to stop bishop g5 and then play knight c3. And so you'll see. So in the game, knight c3 immediately. And the problem with this is he pushes. I saw this would happen. Now I can go knight e2. This is okay. And notice there's a lot of pressure here. I'm going to move the bishop, and if I win that pawn, I'm just better, But yeah, he did have this move, so fascinating middle game. So I'm playing against an IQP position. It's called isolated queen's pawn, and I was hoping for this when we had the trades in the center. I felt like without that dark square bishop there, that he didn't have the same activity as he would get. Although the computer disagrees and says this is okay for black to play this way. It's only a tiny edge for white. And I especially like bishop g5 for him. So now he is threatening to take, and I'll have to take with my g-pawn. That also removes an attacker off of d4. So what to do? I played the move queen f4. Computer also gives knight e1. I would be very upset to play that, though. I guess the idea is f3. Yeah, okay. It just feels slow. Like, I'd be afraid he could do something aggressive or something. I guess queen b6. Just eyeing this pawn. Getting ready to bring rooks over behind. Yeah, I'd be nervous to play this way. Instead, I went queen f4 because now this is under attack. So I'm kind of like forcing him to do something. He could go queen d7 and just defend it. But he did take here. So that does remove that attacker off the pawn. I took with the queen just to keep my structure intact. And now he went f5. Surprising move. Yeah, I really was expecting this move. Doesn't this look good? Knight e5. I was expecting this. It looks kind of annoying. I have to do something like queen g3, and he could even take. Yeah, and I was thinking that this position is probably just equal, and the computer agrees. And this just looks pesky. He's going to have time to get his rooks over and move his queen and all that. And yeah, I don't know that this is any good. So So yeah, I like that move, knight e5. But he played f5. Interesting move. And now I have to decide what to do. I didn't necessarily want to take and allow him to take with the knight, creating discoveries. But on the other hand, what do I do? If I don't take it, then he's going to take on e4. And if he does that and I take with the queen, which is forced, I just felt like I don't want my queen there either. I'm be moving my queen around too much, you know? That's interesting, though. So let's see. The computer says queen g3 is an option and knight f4. Knight f4, I was definitely scared to play this, but I guess it works. Let's see. I thought he could take here and then try to play g5, but I guess the point is I'll just take with a queen, right? Yeah, queen takes e4. Wow, and this is actually winning for white. Wow, I don't always calculate well. Let's see. Oh, duh. We have this huge threat, and it's actually kind of working. Yeah, so knight e4, or knight f4. Knight f4 actually does work. So if he can't take here, then he has to go knight e5. Yeah, I was worried about this. I can go queen g3. Now if he takes, I take with the knight, and that's more desirable. Queen's on, knight blockading the pawn. So, okay, interesting. Let's continue, though. Lots of interesting things in this game. Yeah, so I decided to take this. He did take with the knight. And I figured I'd just move my queen here. But this next move, I'm disappointed in. It's not a big deal, but I played queen g4, and so my idea is I'm threatening to take the pawn, but now that just encourages this move. So I have a long history of putting my queen on bad squares where she can be attacked. And so I did that here. So yeah, bad Stacia, very bad. Don't do that. So be careful where you put your queen, you know. That's a lesson. I'm mostly talking to myself, but I like queen h3 better here. Computer still likes knight f4. And even bishop e4. I wouldn't even consider this move. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes the computer sees a lot more than I do. Like, here, what about this? So the whole idea here is now we have more squares for the queen. We're going to go ahead and go here now. I mean, I'd be afraid to, like, not be blockading. But apparently we're still controlling this, so it's okay. And if we take, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a threat, so what's the idea here? Well, we can just take. And after here, we actually win the pawn. Yeah, so it's hard to see all that, probably. I don't know that I would find a move like bishop e4. That just looks crazy. All right, and yeah, clearly not when I'm playing moves like like queen g4, where sure enough, knight e5. Computer actually likes knight h6 better. But I thought this is a practical move in a rapid game. All right, so queen h3. And now my opponent makes a strange move, and it's actually a blunder. So he played the move Queen G5, and if you'd like to pause the video and find the winning move for white here, go ahead and do so now. Yeah, and I'm really sad because I saw this move F4, and I saw some ghosts apparently, because looking at it now, I have no idea what the issue was. So I think I was worried about this move. But this doesn't matter because the queen is hanging first. You know what I'm saying? So I would just take and win the game. So after F4, I don't know what black really does. They have to just move the queen. I also was thinking he could do this. But again, and I was like, oh, he can get out of it because takes. But no, I just take the knight. You know? Just take it. I teach my kids all the time that, you know, when there are pieces hanging, take them. I should probably follow that advice myself. So, okay, I'm not too happy about this part of the game. Instead of F4, which I saw, I played this first. I actually thought he might take with like a rook or a pawn, and then I have F4. And I did notice that if he took with the queen, it's still desirable for me, just in a slight way instead of winning on the spot. So, so okay, I would consider, you know, not playing F4 was a blunder. Now he took this way, and I do win the pawn. So now we have a bit of an endgame where the rooks are on the board, and we both have knights. He was way up on the clock, but I had enough time that I thought I could play this out. So, okay, and so here I go, well, first he goes rook F6. I'm attacking his rook, he has to move it. I always like when the rook is diagonal from the knight like this, because it controls a lot of the squares the knight wants to go to. And the knight also cannot attack the rook from there. It takes several moves for the knight to attack it. So just a nice little pattern to remember. So I actually thought that was a good move. Computer agrees. And now, now what to do, right? I played rook E1, just attack the knight, get my rook on an open file. Computer actually likes this a little better. I think the reason is it stops rook D8. Because now if rook D8, that's a blunder since I have checks. So I can go knight E6 check, and after he takes, I could take the rook. So tactical reasons. That's good to remember. Instead, I went here. This is okay, of course. But it does allow rook D8, which he played. And now I went rook A to D1. I don't want to spend too much time on this part of the game, but it actually is very interesting as well. Like, computer actually says it's better to take here and go into this kind of thing because I get to double. And I'm threatening to play check and maybe win the pawn. Actually, he has rook F7 there. So computer likes this. Check. I was thinking rook F7, yes. And now back. And the thing is, white's better because we have an extra pawn. But other than that, yeah, I guess we have doubled rooks too. But this is going to be a fight for a while to convert it. All right. But in the game, rook A D1. And now he went, I thought he would play knight F7 here. This is really interesting. He didn't play this in the game. He was worried about rook E7. I think this doesn't really work because my knight is pinned, but I also have a check. But the knight is defending the rook. Yeah, I don't know. This is complicated, but I think this is a better route than what he did in the game. In the game, he went knight c6. And I didn't waste any time. I just took this. Computer actually says knight b5 is better, which is interesting to me. Why would that be better? I don't know. Let's look at this just for a second. Knight b5. What am I threatening? Anything? Not really. I guess I'm going to take the rook, take the knight, and then take the a pawn. I don't like how offsides my knight is there, though. Well, I use the practical approach. Of course, I'm in time pressure, so I can simplify and, sorry about that. Okay, so I take. Now, I think he should take with a rook here, you know? And the thing is, if he does this, it keeps his pawns together. And now if I try check, I think he can just go like king f6, attacking it. Notice this rook's hanging. And I should just double maybe. Rook d to e1. Yeah. And I have back rank issues, you know, so like if I try something like this, I think this loses. Yeah, computer verifies. There would be this because I can't go here because of checkmate. So got to be careful in these endgames, you know, there's still all kinds of tricks and strategical tactics as well. So, okay, so I'll fly through the rest of the game though. He took my rook first. Seems reasonable. I took here. But now he took with a pawn. And so now I have this nice little fork. This pretty much forces a king and pawn endgame, which is really good for white. Yeah, this is just winning. So not only do I have an extra pawn on the king side, which should translate into a pass pawn, but he also has separated pawns on the queen side. So his king's slightly better, but I don't think it's enough. So I went f4 to start. And he brought his king up. I brought my king up. I need to get my king to the center of the board. I'm not in a hurry to push my majority. I need to just get him in a position where he can't do anything, and then I can work on that, you know? So he goes king c4. Or no, I'm sorry, he went, yeah, king c4. And now this is where I like that I didn't move these pawns yet because they control all these squares, and my king controls these squares. So I don't see how he makes progress here. If he pushes the a pawn all the way down, I can go b3, and it's going to take a lot of moves to get the king in, and that's only after I let him in. So I was feeling pretty comfortable in this position. So g4. You know, in hindsight, I could play this. This is probably slightly more accurate, but, you know, both are winning. g4. I'm going to play f5 and create a pass pawn. He plays there. Now I move my king up. Not a bad idea to do this. Like I was saying, he just doesn't have any options. His king is walled off. All right, and now I go f5. And here my opponent resigned. So I'd like to thank Anthony for the game. If you're watching this, thank you. I look forward to playing you more in the future. Congratulations on improving your rating. I expect that it will go up a lot more as well. And I will show, just for any viewers that are wondering why my opponent resigned in this position, Well, I don't know what black can really do. I mean, if he goes here, I could probably just take it. And this is a problem. So take here, and he can't stop this pawn. You know, it's my king's coming up, and he can't even get in. So this just looks impossible. Like, if he just makes a move, now I can just march. You know, it's too late. And this will lead to a checkmate. So I hope you enjoyed the game. I am going to go over the critical moments. We should always look at, you know, what can we learn from these games. I'll now turn the engine off. So as a Smith Morra declined, push variation. Turns out bishop d3 is correct. I didn't realize that during the game. c4 I can play earlier, but that's fine. And here we reach a critical moment. It's time for my middle game plan, and I should put the knight on c3. Seems like really basic stuff, doesn't it? But I should not be afraid of this capture. Bishop takes c3. Yeah, and here I need to finish my development, knight c3, before I enact a plan like this. And I also need to watch for this d5 break. So I'm disappointed in bishop h6. Much better is knight c3, guarding the d5 square. And then after I'm developed, then I can come up with middle game plans like trading the bishop off. Instead, this is a little premature and allows d5. Now I take, and now he gets an isolated queen pawn position. Yeah, and here, knight c3 is interesting, but I really do like h3 better, just stopping all this play with bishop g4. That turns out to be a strong move. And possibly I didn't see it because when I took on d5, it opened up this bishop, and I'm not sure I saw that he could play this so quickly. So, okay, we play here. Yeah, now I don't like allowing play against my queen like this. So I take, yeah, queen g4, question mark. Allowing knight e5, which was played. Queen h3. I could have played there, you know, immediately, so I wasted a tempo and allowed him to improve his knight. Yeah, and this move is a blunder. And I followed it up with a blunder. So I should have played f4 immediately. You know, I think in the future, when I get a position like this, I should really take my time. Because I was seeing ghosts here. And I don't think I even calculated bishop takes, queen takes that much. I just saw that it would win a pawn. But, you know, if I was taking my time, maybe I would have saw that f4 is just much stronger, just wins on the spot. So, yeah, and I should probably do more tactics puzzles. That being said, this is still a good position. White's better here. Yeah, and this is a cool idea I want to learn. So this stops rook to d8 because of that knight e6 check move. And after takes, takes. So I like that. That's something I want to remember. We want to give our opponents chances to go wrong. But this did allow rook d8, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, and I really think knight f7 might even hold the game. It would be complicated, though. So here I just take. That's practical. He takes here. Check here. Yeah, and this king and pawn endgame is just winning. So I like the way I converted it, though. I brought my king up. I kept his king out, and then I create the pass pawn. So this would be winning. So, okay. All right. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please feel free to like and comment and subscribe. That always makes me happy. And I'll be back with another video soon. All right, thank you. Bye.